All right, everybody. Hi, welcome back to another edition of Gannon SBDC Small Business as Usual podcast. My name is Sandy, and I'm joined today by Anthony, Lake Erie Variety. We are here talking about client success stories, being in the trenches. What is it like to be an entrepreneur in Erie, Pennsylvania?
I love it. I never thought this is where I would be,
Okay.
but I've always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur from the time I was a child. So I remember as a kid going to vendor shows with my family and thinking, that's really cool. I wonder how they got there.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, I'm a workaholic, self-admitted workaholic. I lost my part-time job and I thought, I can't sit at home, work from home and then sit at home.
Yeah.
So I decided to dabble into the entrepreneurial world, and that's where Lake Erie Variety was born. It started with a cricket. It started just making some projects, smaller projects.
Okay, we're not talking about an animal cricket like an insect.
No.
We're talking about the machine.
Craft machine.
Yes.
Something small. And I knew I wanted to do more. So one night I was sitting around watching TV, having a few drinks, and it was the little bump I needed to push purchase on a laser. I had no idea what I was going to do with the laser or what the laser could do, but I just started. And when it came, I knew I had to figure it out. And 4 years later, I can't believe how far I've come in 4 years to now have my own retail storefront, be growing at the rate we're growing. But the Erie community has been phenomenal with supporting the business and encouraging the business. And it's just an incredible place to be a small business owner.
Yeah. All right. So let's take it back to the very beginning.
Yeah.
What did you create that you sold? And you're like, oh my gosh, I think this might be something.
So there's two products. The first were these Mother's Day glass tiles. So it was a subway tile, and I put mom or grandma, and then I put all the kids' names across mom or grandma, something personalized, really low price point. And I made that with the cricket. And I sold about 1,000 of them in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And that's when I realized the community likes personalized items at a reasonable price point. When the laser came in, I made these charcuterie boards, and that's one of our mainstays.
Yeah, I love those.
And it's a bamboo paddle, and it has a picture of a shark, and it says charcuterie board, snacks. Nobody can pronounce charcuterie.
Right.
So I posted it on the Facebook Marketplace, and I woke up the next day and had 25 orders. And I thought, that's weird.
Yeah.
So I shipped them and I thought, all right, I better make a few more.
Yeah.
The orders just kept coming. And in 30 days, I sold over 1,200 of those paddles and shipped them all across the United States to all 48 contiguous states, which I thought was pretty cool. That's the moment I knew that the business was bigger than what I had thought. And that's when I started scaling and looking at ordering more lasers and figuring out what's the next step.
Yeah. So you've always had that spirit in you. And you kind of fell into this, it sounds by accident.
Yeah.
And just from there, you just take another step, keep growing, keep growing.
Yeah. I think the pandemic really forced me to be intentional about business growth. We were all at home. I couldn't go into a storefront preemptively. I also couldn't really do a lot of vendor shows. So it forced me to create experiences for the customer that were rooted in personalized products at a very reasonable price point for the Erie community. But then when we finally exited the pandemic, the right opportunity just fell into my lap for the first storefront. And I took a leap of faith, having never really been a business owner. I thought the risk was low, the rent was really cheap. And I thought, if it doesn't work, I'll figure out what else I can do with that space.
So would you say that it's a lot of trial and error?
Yes.
There's really no, I mean, we can give you a marketing plan, a business plan to get you going in the right direction. But a lot of it is just trial and error.
Right.
And be prepared to fail.
Right. And embrace the failure. I think the biggest thing for me has been never sacrifice the brand standard or what the brand stands for.
Love that.
So I will never sacrifice on quality. I will never sacrifice on competing with somebody else's prices. I know my product is quality. And if somebody else is selling it at a lower price point, I'm not going to lower my price just to try to compete. We create an experience for every customer when they come into our storefront or place a custom order. And we've created that expectation for every customer. And that was a hard lesson to learn, seeing other people selling similar products at a different price point. And as the business has grown, I've been able to adjust my prices by ordering in larger quantities and getting better wholesale pricing so I can offer better prices to the customer.
So building that relationship, it's not just about, oh, I made a sale today. It is, here's a repeated customer because I took the time to personalize your product, your interaction, and created that experience that you're talking about.
Yeah, there's something about it. Some of our products are really personal, really meaningful. Our most popular product are the handwritten recipe boards. I can take a handwritten family recipe and engrave it on a cutting board in your loved one's handwriting.
Yeah, I love those.
Oftentimes those projects come to us after somebody's lost a loved one. And that emotional connection to that product, I love getting videos of somebody opening that gift or photos. People will come into the store and tell us how much that product meant. And it just makes us feel like we're a part of our customers' experience and their family when those gifts happen.
Yeah.
That's the best part for me about having this business.
That's awesome. Let's talk about how you are creating that relationship with your customers. Trial and error again. How are you selling your things? This didn't work. Let me try this. Are you online? Is it this, the whole process?
So I always laugh because we don't have a fully functioning website for Lake Erie Variety yet. It's coming, but not yet.
Yeah.
We've had to really control our growth. Our growth has been so fast this year that we've really had to pull back and be intentional. I never want to sacrifice or shortchange the Erie community because the Erie community is what's led to the growth of Lake Erie Variety. I would rather service our customers in Erie and focus on our Erie experience than build a website and ship them all across the country to people that I'll never have that experience with. So we do a lot of relationship building, a lot of personal referrals, which has led to a lot of corporate gifts as well. We've done a lot of corporate projects, which is awesome. It's just getting our name out into the community. We do several vendor shows in the Erie community. So we're going down to Presque Isle days. We do Dan Rice days. It's all about just getting the product in front of our customers so they can see it, experience it, touch it, and see what we offer, but then planting the seed of that recipe board or those custom projects that people don't think about for gifts or wedding
Right,
gifts.
until later when you really need them.
Right.
Yeah.
So we try really hard to get the items in front of people and we play to all five senses when you're in the store. So there's a distinct smell, there's a distinct sight, there's a distinct audio, there's always music playing. So we're really intentional about the experience we create in the store, but we take that same experience to our outdoor vendor shows too.
Yeah, I love this. I love everything about it. Okay, talk to me about what you would suggest to somebody that's looking to start a business.
So one of my friends said to me when I was first figuring out, I recently resigned from my full-time position and became a full-time entrepreneur. And as I was bouncing this idea around with my friends and family, the most vivid advice that I remember was somebody said, take the leap and you'll figure out the landing. And I thought, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
I think it's all about taking a risk. And when there's a low risk, take the chance, make the jump. Life's too short not to do the things that you want to do and chase your dreams and your passions. I think everybody should try to do it. It's hard. It's a lot of work. I'm working more hours now.
I wanted to touch on that. Yeah.
than I did working full-time and running the business full-time.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love every minute of every struggle, every decision, every new customer that comes in the door and loves the product. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But take the risk, find your passion, chase your dream, and make it happen.
Can you share with everybody, what could you do to mitigate that risk? So we're talking about there is going to be risk.
Right.
You want it to be low.
Right.
What could somebody do?
So it's calculated. So for me, the pandemic was my safety net. It forced me to have a very low overhead. I've been very fortunate that our business has been cash flowed from the beginning. And we've not had to take out business loans or lines of credit. So that's been really helpful for us. I would recommend to every business owner, as much as you can, cash flow and avoid lines of credit. Obviously, certain businesses, it's a larger business,
Right.
You're going to have to. We were a startup, so our growth was controlled by my own decision making. I think for me, having a full-time job, I never relied on the business income to pay my mortgage or my car payment. That now has changed. So I think
Is that scary?
no,
Is that okay?
it's a motivator for me because I know what the business can do. It's exciting to be able to say that I can be a full-time entrepreneur and afford to live the life that I had before working full-time. I've been
Right.
very fortunate with that. But it's come at sacrifices. I mean, I've had to make cuts to my budget monthly. I've had to make cuts to things I wanted that I would normally just purchase to make an investment for the business
Right,
and
right.
reinvesting all of that money. So I think it's all about figuring out the priorities for the business, figuring out your priorities and goals for your life, and finding the intersection of the two so that you can make it happen and grow it the way that you want.
That's a huge thing, and talk about finances, personal finances. If you're going on this adventure, that's, I guess I'm not getting Starbucks for the next 6 weeks. It
Right.
looks like, yeah, be very intentional about what you're purchasing.
Right, you have to be, but it's a short-term decision that has a long-term payout.
Agreed. Let's talk about myths for your industry.
Yeah.
Are there any?
Yeah. So people
Are you
always said to
busting
me,
through them?
yeah. So people always said to me, you're crazy to open a storefront. You need an online storefront. And for us, we've done the exact opposite. We opened a retail storefront
First.
and are working on a website with online ordering capabilities. People always say that brick and mortar is dead, especially after the pandemic. And I think the myth there is that big box retailers have really had to adapt and change. But what we're seeing is that the community wants local. They want unique. They don't want to order from Amazon. They want to get something that it's going to make the person go, wow, where did this come from? It's something so unique. So I think that myth is out there, alive and well, but we have experienced the complete opposite, that brick and mortar is alive and well. And especially in our new location in the Village West Plaza, that's 20 small businesses that are thriving and doing great things for our community. And we're all doing well in that plaza because of the support of the local community.
You brought it up, so let's talk about the transition.
Yeah.
So you had a storefront down on
Westlake Road.
Okay. Are you staying there? Are you going to have two locations? We're morphing into one?
I went back and forth. So right now with everything going on, I made the decision that the Westlake Road location is closed effective 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We're moving into the Village West Plaza, and we recently announced a sister store, the Lavender Rabbit. So we were able to expand the brand, offering new unique products to the products people already know and love. So we decided to move Lake Erie Variety temporarily into a section of the Lavender Rabbit while we build out and outfit the new storefront for Lake Erie Variety. The two stores are only 5 doors apart, but being able to be in the Village West has been huge to be able to split my time between the Lavender Rabbit and then building out the new location. It was a financial decision. The storefront on Westlake Road, I would have had to buy $5,000 or $6,000 worth of shelving, another cash register, and I would have had to sell that equipment in 6 months at a loss. So we really went back and forth of, is it worth it? Is it not? Do we keep it open through Christmas? Because I'm still liable for a lease through February. So now we're looking at that space as temporary storage, so we can continue to order in larger volumes and store down there through the Christmas season, all of the holiday season. But it just wasn't feasible when we talked about finances. It was having to pay 3 staff members instead of 2. It was also going to require a triple inventory. So we have a physical storefront, but then we do some big vendor shows. Some of them attract 50 to 100,000 attendees, and we're traveling for those. So I would have had to have an inventory for the Village West storefront, an inventory for Westlake Road, and then a traveling inventory to take to these shows that we're doing.
That's a lot.
It is. And for me, it came down to finances. I couldn't justify the cost of a triple inventory, 3 staff running 3 locations. Yeah, it's a lot. The vendor show, you want to showcase your products, your best movers, but you also can't shortchange your store and the local community from coming in to buy those products. So it's been a lot of figuring out what sells, what moves, what's the right price point to take to these vendor shows. No 2 shows are the same.
Okay, what is the hardest part of being an entrepreneur?
Right now, it's finding the time, balance. I am working 18 to 20 hours a day right now, trying to get 2 storefronts up and running. We're rebranding a storefront. We're reorganizing a storefront, a business that's been in operation for 10 years. So finding the time and figuring out how do you operate that storefront and bring it forward while bringing a brand forward and moving it into a space that's 3 times the size, but then also making sure that I disconnect and take the time I want for my own personal life. I shared earlier,
balance.
I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I am finding so much energy and renewal and refreshment from this experience that it's been good, but I know that eventually I'm going to hit that brick wall.
Yeah.
So I think it's all about finding balance, finding your priorities, and making sure that you're taking the time for you.
Talk about the challenges of acquiring an already existing business. That's something altogether different than starting.
Yeah, I've never purchased a business, and it's been an interesting experience going through that with my business partner. And it's different than starting your own business because there's expectations from the customers about product placement, products that we're going to carry or discontinue, expanding the lines that are there. The Lavender Rabbit is a totally different business than Lake Erie Variety. Lavender Rabbit, we're offering infused balsamics and olive oils. We have 38 different varieties. And we plan to continue carrying the exact same line of balsamics and olive oils, but adding new flavors in and getting folks to try them and experience different options. So we just ordered a pumpkin spice balsamic. I've never heard of a pumpkin spice balsamic, but
what do we do with that? We
put it
need
over
some
ice cream.
recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the balsamics you can use for cocktails. So then we have flavored sugar that you can in your glass, use a balsamic in the cocktail. There's a lot of things you can do with the balsamics and oils that I would have never known before becoming engaged in this business. But it's just so different because the decisions were made and we then have to make decisions to,
if we're going to keep going this direction, or how do we
meet the expectations of the customers.
Continue that relationship that you're talking about.
Right. And then blending two businesses together. They're sister stores. Our line at Lake Erie complements the Lavender Rabbit so well with charcuterie boards and the engraved tumblers that we do, but it was just a natural connection for the two. So now we're infusing the Lake Erie products, exclusive designs that will be found at the Lavender Rabbit. So it's also merchandising those items and then educating the customers on the second brand as well.
How do you educate?
The five senses, get them in the store. We're working on rolling out a comprehensive marketing plan with paid advertisements, but it's word of mouth. Erie is a great community that loves small businesses. The more we can get people into the store, the better we are. So at the Lavender Rabbit, we offer samples and tastings of all the oils and balsamics at any time. You can come in and taste them. And I think once people try those products, they're hooked. They wind up saying, I love this one, or no, that one's not for me. But it's all about just educating the customer on how to use them. Like we talked about pumpkin spice balsamic.
Yeah.
We have to educate ourselves to be the subject matter experts to say, here's 6 different ways to use this balsamic. There's a lot of different things we can try, but we're educating ourselves while we're also educating the community to grow the brand and showcase what can be done.
So you're always learning. That's another factor of being an entrepreneur, that you can't just say, I know my business, I know my customers, straight line plateau, keep doing the same thing.
Right. And I think that's what's interesting. We're in year 4 of operation for Lake Erie. And if I said I knew everything, we'd be stagnant. And I don't know everything because there's always new products. There's always new lasers and technology that we can add to our line to stay current and in front of the trends. But you've got to stay current and you've got to keep your research. And I'm really connected in the laser world with laser makers from around the country. It sounds so strange, but I have really good friends that
I envision seeing you on TV, the laser guy, you know, like I'm coming in, here's this new laser. And
I'm up to 6. So but it's all about knowing your network and who you can reach out when my laser fails. I know that I can reach out to others that have similar lasers that can help me troubleshoot. So building that network has been critical for my success in this business too, to just know who are my mentors, who are the people that I can ask for help, and who are the people that I can also mentor and help get their business up off the ground because somebody did that for me when I first started.
I love that. Yes. What do you regret thus far?
Yeah. Not recognizing the potential of the business sooner. So I think I always doubted how large the business could grow. And I think I still have that nervousness about how big the business could get. At the beginning of the year, I had to make some really hard decisions about growth because our growth we were up 700% year over year, which is
nobody said that before.
Yeah, it's huge. I couldn't keep up working full time without sacrificing quality, without sacrificing the customer experience. I had to make very intentional decisions to slow our growth down to not lose sight of the brand standard. That was hard because every business wants to grow. Everybody wants to see their full potential.
Right, profits.
But when you grow that quickly, you're going to make mistakes or miss some different things. So I think for me, I wish I would have recognized that a larger storefront sooner. We had a great start on Westlake Road. It was a small boutique. It was 300 square feet and we were only open.
Small. I was shocked when I went in there.
Very small.
Yeah.
But unique, intimate. And that's why customers loved it. There was something for everybody. I wish we would have started in a much larger space in the beginning. We're at the point now where commercial space for inventory management and manufacturing is on the list for 2024. We recognize that this operation needs space to grow.
Right.
But I think if I would have looked at it 2 years ago when we first started looking for a storefront, I wouldn't have had to move the business. Moving a business is really hard because your identity in the community right now for us is on Westlake Road, the small little boutique. We now have to educate customers that we're moving. The business didn't close. I'm already getting questions about your storefront's dark. Are you closed? Did you have a business? And that's hard to hear when we're growing. But I was nervous to take that risk because the storefront rent was really reasonable on Westlake Road. I knew I could make it work no matter what happened with the business. A larger storefront has a lot more risk, more product, more inventory, more shelves, more overhead, staffing constraints. But I just wish I would have trusted my gut a little bit sooner. And it's still something that I'm not a huge risk taker. It's always calculated, it's always planned.
Yeah.
But I want to continue to grow, and the Village West will be our home permanently. And then we do have plans to operate additional locations in future years throughout the Erie County region.
That's awesome. Scaling in 5-10 years, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with the business. So wholesaling is another option that we're considering right now. The wholesale market is huge for custom-made products, and we can ship all across the country. That is on the radar for Q1 2024.
Okay.
And then additional locations would be 2025, probably. We're already in some conversations about what that might look like in locations that are being scoped and scouted right now. They would be fresh constructions. So excited about that. I don't know what 10 years out looks like. I think the Lake Erie brand will continue to grow with the acquisition of additional businesses. I think the Lavender Rabbit and Lake Erie are a great complement, but I'm looking forward to figuring out what's that next step. How do we continue to grow?
Right.
But most importantly, how do we continue to serve the community that's been so good to us?
And don't forget that personal time for yourself. Okay. Talk to me. What influences you? You're like, hey, I saw this and I find that interesting.
In terms of personally, business-wise?
Business.
I think it's the creativity. I've always been a creative person. I've always been, creativity has been my outlet when I'm stressed. So I was a musician for years through middle and high school and even through college, but the opportunity to learn. So the creative outlet with the lasers and products, but also learning something creative. I want to be different. I want to be unique. And the more I can find a way to be different and unique, motivates me to keep doing something different. I don't want folks to walk into either of our stores and go, oh, I can get that down the plaza.
Right.
Same product or similar product. It's got to be unique. So I think I'm always on the outlook of what's the new trend? What's the new product? What's the new charcuterie board or style of board? And where do we get it? But it's the innovation, creativity, and the lifelong learning that just keeps me going every day.
Yeah. So are you researching at night, looking for what the competition is doing?
Yeah. It's always about looking at other gift shops and the other laser makers. I think the community is so strong. There's enough room in our community for anyone to open any type of business. And my philosophy has always been, if somebody has a question because they're thinking about opening a laser business, I'm happy to chat. I'm happy to share my mistakes, my pitfalls, in hopes that they won't make the same ones. A lot of folks don't operate that way. The laser community has been very encouraging to say, this product is selling really well in my market. I'd recommend trying it. So
that's awesome.
That
you don't find that a lot.
No.
People don't share.
No, but there's enough space for all of us because even if we're making the same type of holiday ornament, my spin on it would be different than the way you would do it. Whether it's painted differently, sized differently, priced differently, your market is different than my market. So I'm happy to share. And I think when you engage that way and you're willing to share and discuss with other makers and other business owners, you're going to learn and grow. And the community is going to learn and grow together.
Yes, that's huge. If you had unlimited budget, what would you do with it? Is it inventory? Is it other locations?
Yes, it's
vacation for yourself.
Yeah, all of the above. I would be purchasing more equipment. So we have 6 lasers right now. They all do something a little bit different. I would be buying a UV laser and a UV printer. They're really expensive, but it allows you to print color directly onto the substrate. So I could take a family photo and print it directly onto a piece of wood and then cut that piece of wood out. Yeah. That's on the bucket list of, our wish list for the business, but it's a financial decision. The cost of the laser and what it could produce would take years to make that money back. I think it would be inventory. We've really been able to source inventory and get the cost down, which is why we can keep our prices really reasonable. the more you buy, the better the pricing.
Oh,
But
true.
We run into storage issues. So I think it would be manufacturing space with storage, inventory, and then a couple new lasers that we can continue to be on the cutting edge and be the first to introduce some of those things into the Erie markets.
What is new or exciting about your industry? Something that surprised you within the last 6 months, 3 months?
The advances in technology. So when I first started this, the laser that I got, I could make a coaster, a single coaster, in 8 to 10 minutes. The newest laser I have is a fiber optic laser. I can make that same coaster in 45 seconds. In 4 years, the technology advances have really allowed us to maximize our time, be more efficient with our time, but the price points of those lasers have come down significantly to be more affordable and more attainable. I was shocked when I started researching the cost of some of these machines. They're tens of thousands of dollars when you get into the commercial, the bigger beds, the bigger sizes.
Where can people find you? You said that you're not really online just yet. You're not at your old location.
Right. So our current storefront is moving from Westlake Road to the Village West Plaza. That's 3330 West 26th Street. We're right next to Lake Erie Candy Company and Cellar 22. So great neighbors in the plaza, but that storefront should be open by the first full week of July. So right after the 4th of July holiday, we plan to be open for Lake Erie Variety.
Okay.
We do have our Facebook page that we're still accepting custom orders, and order pickups can be done at our sister store at the Lavender Rabbit, which is also in the Village West Plaza. We're open 5 days a week for the time being. We have plans to go 7 days a week starting in October for both of the businesses, just to have more access for folks as they prepare for holiday shopping.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Anything else, Tony, that you want to share with the audience?
No, if you have a dream, chase it. And thank you to the support of the SBDC, because we started out as an SBDC client, and the resources and the guidance as we first started, I had no idea what I was doing. The SBDC made it easy. I'd recommend anybody who has questions to just reach out and ask for those initial questions to be answered. You can then start your business with confidence, knowing that you incorporated legally and the right way. You don't have to worry about
Legal
it.
is very important.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But try something new. And if it doesn't work, reinvent it and try something new again. I think any entrepreneur would tell you to take the risk and jump. I would have never imagined leaving a career that I loved to chase a passion that I loved. But I have no regrets about it so far. 3 weeks in. But it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. And to the Erie community, thank you for the support, for the growth of Lake Erie. We couldn't do it without you. And we look forward to welcoming everyone into both stores, hopefully end of July, early August for grand openings for both locations.
So watch the Facebook page for more announcements and
Yes,
the official grand opening.
absolutely.
Tony, it's good to have you.
Thank you.
Always
Thanks
love
for
chatting
having
with you.
me. You too.
Thanks, everybody, for joining.